Marshall Ferguson here with your team preview of the 2022 Calgary Stampeders. When we last saw the Stamps on the field, they were 8-6, third place in the Western Division after fighting, scratching, and clawing just to make the playoff dance. They got in despite suffering the loss of Bo Levi Mitchell for some significant time, as backup quarterback Jake Maier had to come in and played admirably all season long. When Bo was in, he was dealing with shoulder discomfort. Despite that, they were able to have the third most points per game in the CFL with 22.5 per game and the second highest yards gained per first down. A lot of that coming regardless of the quarterbacking situation, because Kadeem Carey played excellently throughout the season, including 7 rushing touchdowns to lead all running backs in the Canadian Football League. What's happened since we last saw the Stampeders on the field? Well, they don't like to have the splashy free agency sessions that many other teams do, but they did go out and make one big deal. That was, of course, acquiring linebacker Cameron Judge from the Toronto Argonauts in exchange for Royce Mechie, who might be able to make some Stampeders fans remember what it was like to have Alex Singleton roaming around the middle of the field for the Stampeders defense, making plays from sideline to sideline. They also added offensive lineman Derek Dennis, who was formerly under contract with the Edmonton Elks organization, and they were able to get themselves Jordan Williams-Lambert, a receiver from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who at times has been underwhelming statistically, but is a big body and has big potential over the middle, especially when you consider that back in the fold is Kamar Jordan and Reggie Begelton. What I'm looking forward to with Calgary this year, number one has to be Bo Levi Mitchell's health. When he is healthy at 32 years old, he's as good as anybody else. He is in the prime of his career. I believe they have the ability with Bo healthy this year, and the receivers that are in place, they should be in the playoffs. The question becomes, will that defense be good enough with Bo healthy to topple the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the back-to-back defending Grey Cup champions, and also to be able to overcome the Saskatchewan Roughriders? That is the challenge in front of Calgary. Bo Levi Mitchell needs to seize this moment, but the offensive line has to do their part in keeping him clean and making that a reality. The second part I'm interested in for Calgary this season, the Canadian receivers. Jalen Philpott was drafted 5th overall from the University of Calgary. They keep him at home. They've also got Luther Hakanavanu, who was a late-round pick in previous year's draft. He stayed on the club and didn't have very many targets or touches, but averaged 20 yards per catch on the season. Can they take that potential, that big play body, and find a way to make it efficient in between some of their more high-volume receivers? And finally, can Calgary return to prominence? In the big picture, the Stampeders have always been a mainstay in the conversation around who is going to have a chance to win the Grey Cup. Last year, it felt like they were on the outside looking in for the first time in quite some time. The offensive line will be more developed this season. They've been able to get Sean McEwen in at center. He's a leader for them for the foreseeable future. And if they can add in that dynamic Kadeem Carey running game with the skill positions that I've mentioned, Cameron Judge has a good season, and they surround Bo Levi Mitchell with the right pieces, Calgary could return back to the top quicker than we realize. Winnipeg can't stay there forever. The question becomes, who's going to go get them? Could the Stampeders reach all the way to the top and be on top of the pedestal come the end of November in Regina?